Hi everyone, today we're going to be looking at how to set up a database and table inside your UAMP server and talk you through how to apply some SQL statements to that and make sure you're able to import at home. Okay, so first thing you'll need to do is to plug your server into your computer, head over to your file explorer and look out for your server and get yourself in there. Okay, in your server setup as before, we should be going inside our UAMP system. And we should be looking for the UAMP icon to launch our server. This might happen automatically in the background. Okay, so we've got our server here. We can see at the top that our Apache and our MySQL are running, not doing very much at the moment, but that's fine. They're both there, they're both live. And if we wanted to stop that, we could click on the stop button. Okay, if we're going to be working with databases, at the moment what we're going to be doing is going into our PHPMyAdmin function, clicking on that to get it open. Now it'll open in your default browser, that might be Chrome, it might be Edge, and I always find that the first time I open it, it lags like this. Okay, and I find that by stopping and refreshing that, it seems to work a lot quicker. I have no idea why. It happens every single time that I run it. You guys can let me know if you see the same. Now, all of your setups have been set up really insecurely because we're just using them for school. So your username is root and your password is root. They may be default there in for you, and you should only really need to log in once, and then it should stay logged in your computer. Okay. When you press go, it'll take you to the main PHPMyAdmin space, which looks like this. And on the left-hand side, you'll have any previous databases that we've already made in class. Okay, and this is just a recap of how to do this so you can use it as part of your task this week. Okay, so first thing you want to do is set yourself up an overall database. You can do this via SQL, but I find that it works better if we set it up via the database option inside the local host. Okay, so we're going to go here, and the database I'm creating is going to be based on a library, so I'm going to call it books. And I'll just put in 2021 because it's for this year. And remember, the collation that we choose is going to be UTF-8, which is near the bottom, UTF-8, and choose the option that says General CI. So UTF-8 underscore General underscore CI, and make sure that's picked before you press create. If not, your import option will not work correctly. Okay. So what we've got over the left-hand side is it set us up a database. It's telling us at the top that we're now inside the local host and inside the database, but currently there are no tables. Now in my PHPMyAdmin, you can build tables up using this. However, we would prefer you to use SQL. Now, in the task that you'll be given, you'll be provided with some sample data and asked to write the create statement to create a database. I have done a Blue Peter and created mine early, so you can see it. I realise it's a little bit small, but I'm going to create a new table called books inside my books 2021 database, which is why I've given them slightly different names so we don't get confused which is which. So books is the entity or the table, and books 2021 is the overall database. It's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields. Okay, the first one is the primary key, also set up as an auto increment number, so it'll put the numbers in for me automatically, and it's set up as integers. The title, author are both going to be text fields that are not going to be set to null. We've got a publication year, which is the year the book came out, which is set up as a year only, not a date. And then we've got the language being set up as a text. Okay, remember your semicolon at the end, and then when you press go, it should create that table. Now, when it's created it, you should see it appear on the left-hand side. So we're in books here. Okay, at the moment I'm only inside the database books, I'm not inside the table. So if I want to go inside the table to do anything with the table, I need to make sure that I select that, and now you can see the breadcrumbs are updated at the top. So I'm inside the local host, inside the database, and now I'm inside the table. And what we want to do is we want to import some data in, which is quite often what you'll do as a database rather than build it up. Okay, so I'm going to go into import. I'm going to import a file. Now you'll be given files where you're asked to do this, okay? So you won't be expected to create any large database files. So it's taking me straight to the place where my file's saved, and this is my one here, books updated. I just put open. It doesn't matter that the name of that is different to what it is that you're putting it into. They're not linked at all, okay? Make sure it's set to the same character set, UTF-8, brilliant. And we just scroll down. Shouldn't need to change any of these options. You might need to change the format if you've been given a different type of file, but usually you'll be given a CSV file. You scroll down and you press on go. Now, sometimes this can just be a little bit slow, so you need to take your time, depending on the computer you're using or whatever. And what you're looking for is for it to import everything in. So we've got 100 queries or 100 lines have been imported into books. If we go to browse, because we're inside the books table now, we should be able to see those. Okay, now it's only showing us 25. We could extend that and show us all if we wanted to. Sometimes just makes your server run a little bit slow. And you can see there's all the input that has come in from my CSV file. So automatic auto increment numbers being put in here. We've got the titles of the books, the authors of the books, the publication year, and then we've got our language. Okay, and you can see there's no spaces or anything in the names of these attributes, so underscores have been used, and you can click on different ones, delete them. You could click on it all, drop the whole database, etc. if you made any errors. Okay, if you want to delete the whole table, okay, because you've made a mistake, you need to go back into databases only. And then you can see there's the books table there, so you can select the whole table and you can drop the whole table. Okay, again, if you wanted to delete the whole database, you go back to the server, go into databases, click on the whole database, and then drop the database. Okay, remember there's no kind of backsies, so just be very careful when you're messing about with these different options. And you can get into it various ways by clicking on the left, by clicking above, by clicking in here. And your breadcrumbs will always tell you kind of where you are. Okay, and now you've got your database set up, you can do lots of stuff with it inside PHPMyAdmin. So for example, if you go into the SQL section, it will come up with an automatic little kind of query for you there. That just says select star from books where one doesn't really tell us anything, but select star means select everything from books where and then you could write a condition at the end. Okay, now remember with SQL statements, it is up to you whether you want to lay it out where you've got your select where from like under each other, or if you want to have all in one line. It doesn't make any difference. The SQL is read from the select right the way to the end semicolon, so you can do it any way that you like. Okay, now if I'm just going to delete back to here to show you some examples of different queries that you can put in. So let's say, for example, we were asked to look for all of the books that were French. We were asked to list perhaps the title and the author for each of these books. What we would do is select. Now, I suggest that over on the right-hand side, when you've got the fields or the attributes listed there, you choose these and see how it comes up automatically in these kind of diagonal version of quotation marks. You can get them in your keyboard, but it's a lot easier just to select them from the left. Okay, so we've got select title, comma, and author from books. What's the name of our database? This is where I have to try and find it, so I've put books here. That symbol, if you do want it, is the one above tab on your keyboard. It's kind of got three symbols out there, but automatically comes up with that kind of slanted quotation mark. So it's right above the tab button on the left hand side of your keyboard. From books, where, remember all my keywords are going in capitals, okay, and you'll see them start to pop up as kind of predictive text. And then we want to say where language, just double click on it, and then we're going to say equals, and then I'm just going to put in French in quotation marks. Oops. Now you can see that, semicolon at the end, these ones are different. The blue and the different types of quotation marks are your attributes, your field names, and this one here is the criteria we're looking for. Okay, we press go. If we've made any errors in the SQL, we'll get a red pop back telling us there's something wrong, and if it's worked, we'll get this green telling us how many we've found. So it's saying we've found 48 in total books that are French, and it's currently showing us 1 to 24. If we wanted to see all of them, then we just click on, let's say 50, and then it'll say showing all records 0 to 47, which is our 48 in total, and there they all are. Now we're not seeing the languages because we've not actually picked to be able to see that. Okay, if we wanted to, then you could highlight that all, copy it, go back to SQL, paste it, and you could add that in. So if we also wanted just to double check the language, we could put it into our fields that we're going to display. Here we go. Press go again. And this time you can see, look, they all actually say French. If you wanted to check your work per se, it's only outputting the two fields that we asked for. Okay, so that's an example of how you'd look for something straight off. Let's try different examples. Let's say we were looking for all of the books that were made before 1950. Okay, so I want the title of them. Title. From books. I always need to make sure we're telling it where we're getting it from. books, where, and then we want to say where the publication year, and this time we want to say is less than 1950, so anything before 1950. Okay, now I'm not putting 1950 in quotes there just to see if this works, because it's a number technically, or a year. It should work for us. I'm going to copy and paste it just in case to save me having to type it out again, and press go and see if it works. If it doesn't work, we might put it back in quotes. Yeah, so it has worked. Okay, again, because we've only asked to see the title, we can't check it. So if we go back across to SQL and add in the year as well, okay, from title, comma, publication year, and press go. Then you can see, here we go, you should be able to check all those dates and check that they're less than 1950. And if the question was how many books are there, then there's 62 books in total that are published before 1950 in this particular library. Okay, one more thing I want to show you before I finish up is how you would look for something that was not in a specific year or before a specific year. Okay, so but let's say, for example, you wanted to look for anything that was made in the 40s. Okay, then what you need to do is start introducing a wildcard. Now, because you're using a wildcard for the bit that you don't know, you're going to need to put the date you're putting in quotation marks. Okay, so we're going to use the like, which means similar to but not exactly the same. We're going to do a quote, we're going to do 1940, and then we're going to use the wildcard. Now, the wildcard, the inside the quotation marks, so this wildcard we've looked at before. Let's just say, let's get all the information. That's a wildcard there. Star means get all the information, and that says where 1940 something, anything, comes up. So it's going to give us 1940 all the way up to 1949. Again, copy that for a little bit later on. When I press go, okay, then what's going to happen is it will show me all the information for everything that is in 1940 something. Okay, now if you wanted the oldest one up to the newest one, then what you could do is add a wee order by, which is your kind of ascending or descending sort. Okay, and we can add that on to the end. Okay, so we could put order by, and we could say publication year. And if we wanted the oldest book to the newest book, then we just put ASC for ascending. Okay, and then I'm just going to highlight that to make sure I've got a copy. Press go. Okay, and there we go. We've got the oldest book in the 1940s all the way up to the newest book, and it's telling you that in total there are 19 books made in the 1940s. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful. What I want you to do today is, based on the CSV file that you've been given, I want you to create your own database, create your own table, make sure you can import the information, and try to answer some of the questions you've been given to make sure that you can access the data correctly. Okay, right, speak to you later, guys. Bye.